How a close friend destroyed my wedding day with an unthinkable act. My friend, 33F, and I, 28F, have been close for 7 years now. We met through work, and at the time, I really looked up to her like a big sister. Around 4 years ago, she moved back to her home state, but we've always kept our friendship strong. Even though we don't text often, every time we get together, it feels like no time has passed at all. However, lately, I've started noticing some concerning behaviors, especially when it comes to her drinking. She's always been a heavy drinker, but things have escalated in the past few months. Before my wedding, she was in town to celebrate her birthday. I took her out to dinner, and we went to a casual bar afterward. As the night went on, I noticed she was drinking at a rapid pace, faster than I could keep track of. I decided it was time to get her home, but that's when things took a turn for the worse. She started making out with a random guy at the bar and was insisting he come home with her. When I tried to intervene, she became irate and started lashing out. The guy, thankfully, was polite and tried to reason with her, but she wasn't having it. I had to get security to help me escort her out of the bar. She even tried to hit me in the Uber when I was just trying to stop her head from slamming into the window. When we got to her place, she managed to fall face first onto the pavement trying to get out of the car. The Uber driver was kind enough to help me, but her face and shoulder were scraped up pretty badly. I tried to clean her up, but she got angry at me for it. After she passed out, I propped her up on her side and just sat there, not knowing what to do. The whole experience was overwhelming and very triggering for me, given my history with addiction. I had to work the next day, so I left her a note explaining the night and saying I'd check in with her. Thankfully, she texted me the next morning to let me know she was okay, but she didn't say much else. I could tell she was probably embarrassed, so I didn't press her. However, I couldn't shake the sadness I felt. It was hard for me to deal with, and I really struggled with seeing her in that state. Then, a couple of months later, I got married, and she came back into town for the wedding. We had an after party at an Airbnb with close friends, but she showed up absolutely hammered. She started following my husband's friends around in a way that made me uncomfortable. But the night was so chaotic that I didn't have time to focus on her. She eventually passed out on the couch, and I asked my maid of honor to keep an eye on her. The next day, I found out some deeply unsettling details. We had rented a shuttle to take our friends from the wedding to the after party, and apparently, during the ride, my friend had groped one of my husband's friends while he was asleep. He woke up to her touching him, and understandably freaked out. He didn't tell anyone until the next day, but looking back, I remember seeing her try to flirt with him at the party, and he clearly wasn't interested. I am absolutely mortified and disgusted by her behavior, and I don't know what to do. I want to have empathy for her because I know she's struggling with addiction, but this feels like a betrayal of my trust. I don't even know if she remembers what happened, but I feel like I have to address it with her somehow. I just don't know how to approach this. I'm at a loss here. What should I do? How do I have this conversation without making things worse?